I think that there's a why behind people's decisions, actions, values. And I think it's really important to be in tune with that, to be in touch with your purpose. Why are you doing what you're doing? What are you trying to get out of it? What are you trying to achieve in life? Because when adversity hits you in the face and you get a bloody nose from it, like, you got to be able to fall back on something. And so going into college, the plan was to go to the NFL. And I think the reason why I excelled at a young age at football, and that's something that I really took heart to, is one, I love the game. I think that you have to have a love for what you're doing, and you have to enjoy it and you have to have fun. But I think it really came down to just willingness to persevere. I didn't have a golden route. I was from a small town that, honestly, people laughed at the thought of me playing at the University of Washington when I told them that was my goal. Mm-hmm. It's like, nobody's done that in our town for 15, 20 years. That's not going to happen, dude. Like, but there's a really nice D3 school down the road, it's like, but it was just a matter of persevering through the ups and the downs, the ebbs and the flows, the adversity that strikes, constantly having people, person after person, tell you you're not going to make it, and being able to shut those out.
There's going to be a whole lot of things that are outside of your control. Let them go. Let them go. Just focus on what is the best thing I can do. The best thing I can do to maximize my potential. My potential. My potential. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, Ben, today we have our second special guest. Cole Sager was in town a little bit ago. Sat down with him to get a sense of who he was and why he does what he does. So before we get to that interview, I wanted to talk to you in the same way that we sort of chatted about Brooke a few weeks ago, about Cole and sort of why he fits so well into the team and into sort of your specific sort of training methodology or mindset. Mm-hmm. So tell me about Cole.
Cole's a great dude. So anybody that's ever met Cole, anybody that even just knows him from afar through social media or watching him compete, knows what kind of level of character Cole has. He's the guy you want your daughter to marry. He's like the golden child. Mm-hmm. The way I first was introduced to him was when I was at the games and I was working with some other athletes in his first rookie year. And he was friends with Roy Zambard, who was on level 1 seminar staff, and I was on level 1 seminar staff. So I got introduced to him through Rory and met him. And when I came back from the games, people always ask me, who'd you meet? Who'd you like? What is this person like? And when I came back from that first games that he was at, he was the guy I was like blown away by. His personality, his disposition, his demeanor, and his athleticism. I can remember watching him warm up for an event, and he was just doing these spring jumps, kind of like just like tuck jumps across the floor. And kid you not, every single athlete in the warm-up area stopped and turned and watched. It was like as if like Giselle walked through the athlete area, or like Michael Jackson. Right. Like everyone stopped what they were doing and watched what he was doing, and then they just kind of looked at each other like, "What the hell was that?" It's kind of like when you like the cheetah or the tiger isn't like in the grass, like waiting to attack, and the gazelles know that they're there, so they show like, I'm athletic, don't get me. I'm athletic, don't get me. I can spring, I can jump, don't. That's what Cole was. Mm-hmm. And I came back and I was just incredibly excited about having a chance to meet him, who he was, but we still didn't work with each other for a while. We did the same thing we did with Brooke and all of our athletes. We brought him to work with Matt and with Katrin and with Michelle leading up to the regionals that had the Randy event in it that year. And he worked with us and got to know him a lot better, and then just realized he'd be a great fit for our team. We're very much a character-driven team first, not that we're a bunch of characters. We're trying to build character first, and he has it in spades. He has it better than almost anyone I've ever met. He's very religious and faith. He has a lot of faith in his life, and that carries over, and it's a really positive impact on him. And he's gotten really close with me and my family, lived with us for a fair stretches of time leading up to the games, and couldn't be happier to have him as an athlete that I coached.
Cool. So really the only other thing I really wanted to touch on was maybe sort of two parts of the same question, which is his game season last year was, I would say that it was unexpected in some ways. But
Cole likes to take the unorthodox approach to the top 10 finish. Yeah.
So maybe you can tell me about what your experience or the experience of regionals last year. And for those people who don't remember, Cole went into the last workout, which was the rope climb and thruster. And he basically needed to win it, if I remember correctly.
He needed a lot more than that. He needed to win it and a whole lot of other pieces to fall. He was in 9th place and they will take the top 5.
Okay.
It's you know what it's equivalent to? It's equivalent to being in the Super Bowl down 28-3 with 17 minutes left.
It's impossible.
Go Pats.
Okay. Okay, so from your perspective, because you were there, what did that look like from your end in terms of like, how did you help?
Yeah.
Did you at all, or did you just, was it just Cole? And like, walk me through that 15 or 20 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. So the Northwest Regional and Canada West Regional, I forget what they combined that super region into, but he was in 9th place going to the last event. This was my first time coaching Cole in a competition. And any coach that's ever done this before knows how hard that is. You don't have the built up repertoire. You don't have the built up trust. You don't know what makes the athlete go, what makes them tick, what's going to shut them down. So I'm coaching the whole time, very hands off, like very, if level 1 is me doing nothing and level 10 is really aggressive, controlling everything, I'm probably at a 2 or a 3. I'm basically giving him big, broad brush strokes because I don't know
what he needs.
I don't know what he needs and how he operates.
Yeah.
And he's told me the whole time he does a really nice job when he's calm, and he it seems like it. He in the warm up area he's calm. In the box where we're watching the event, he's calm and he's taking naps and he's relaxed. And that's what I'm trying to do the whole time, is not get him hyped up for events. And he's doing well, but starts to slip and not do so well. He falls out of the top 5 to 9th place going to the last event. And my buddy and Matt's agent and my agent, Matt O'Keefe, turns to me and goes, this is BS. He's a football player. He does not operate when he's calm. He does not want to be. He's a football player. He needs to run through a human being. Yeah. He needs to destroy something. So I was like, you're probably right.
Yeah.
You're probably a better coach than I am. So leading up to that last event, I did the normal, like, your race, focus on you, do what you have to do all the good stuff. And I didn't want to get him too psyched up. Then right before he went on, we always do like a quick little, he does his warm up. I follow him around the warm up, help him out with any sort of like little tiny tweaks, not a lot. And he goes to, like, we give the high five, the bro hug, and then he goes to leave and turn for the athlete corral, and I don't let go of his hand. And I just held on to him, and I pulled him right back into me. And this is, I'm getting get goosebumps just talking about this. I pull him back into me, and when I pull him in real aggressively, and I look him right in the eyes, and right then I was like, he just gave me this look before I even said anything. That was like, what, coach? Like, tell me. Yeah. Like, it was just like this, like, and I told him, I was like, not to over dramatize it, but I basically told him, like, you're a football player, this, enough with the niceties. It's 4th and 1. You have to get in the goal line to score. You're down by a touchdown. You don't get the ball. The ball's not going to you. You're the fullback. Go and knock the effing head off the linebacker. You do that, your team wins. You got to clear a path for someone else. And usually he gets in the athlete corral. He told me this story afterwards. Usually he gets in the athlete corral and he's very serene, meditative, faithful, prayer. And this one, he's joking and like slapping high fives with all his buddies there. This one, he couldn't even look up with his eyes because he was just so driven and so focused. And the long story short of it is he went out and won that workout. And who knows if it's his faith or somebody else looking after him, but everything else fell where it needed to fall for him to be able to go from 9th to 5th and qualify for a spot. Went to the games. And then the cool thing is, from the games, barely squeaked into regionals. At the games, he came in 5th in the world.
Yeah.
So he's made a lot of gains since then. He's definitely a game day athlete, super fun to coach. And I learned a lot about what makes Cole tick. it's not what Cole thought made him tick.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a real fun experience. And I'm not saying that my talk was what got him through. Yeah. It was also having to be a wheelhouse workout for him. Yeah. Could not get. It's his two best movements, literally in the world, is rope climbs and thrusters. Wall balls are up there too. But those, if I had to pick a workout, that's it. So that helps as well. And it's also another reason you can get someone to compete aggressively. It's hard to give that talk when it's something that they need to pace or something that they need to be smart or. So
yeah, it all sort of lined up.
Everything lined up and thankfully worked out really well.
Awesome. All right, cool. Let's jump to the interview with Cole. All right, sir. Thanks for taking some time.
Oh, absolutely.
First thing I wanted to talk to you about is trying to get a sense of where you've come from in terms of your athletic background and maybe kind of a little bit about how and where you grew up, just to get a sense of that. So maybe we start with where did you grow up and sort of what was your childhood like? What were you sort of most into growing up as a kid?
Yeah, absolutely. I grew up in a small town, Burlington, Washington. It's on the western side of Washington State. It's a little farm town, about when I was growing up, maybe 7,000 people. Very small high school. I believe my graduating class was just under 200 people. It just wasn't a big school. Small, close-knit community, and I really enjoyed that. I liked that a lot. It kind of one of those towns when football games are on, like the town was there, and it was cool.
Like high school games, like that was the place to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was always full. The home bleachers were always full, and to the point where people would actually stand around the track and even fill in on the visitor side. And we had a couple really good seasons when I was playing high school football. Where we had good string of seasons, made it to state championship, different things like that, or at least to the semifinals and the playoffs, just good teams, and so it's easy for a community to get around that and get excited behind that. So very fun to be a part of that. But growing up in a small town, in a farm town, really, we had some acreage. We played outside a lot, tried a lot of different things, a lot of different sports. I dabbled in just about everything, from BMX to rollerblading, skateboarding, snowboarding. We raced some go-karts for a little bit. I had a year where I thought I could be a motocross rider because my friends were, and then that quickly was a realization that nope, you don't have what that takes. Just different things like that. Just got to really play a lot, have fun, just be adventurous and whatnot. And I think that was great because it gave me great adaptation for athletic skills, in a lot of different areas. And that was all pre-football, and then I started getting into about age 12 or so, maybe 6th grade, started playing football, getting a little bit more into the team sports, focus in, basketball, football, track, wrestled for a few years. So I even did I think it was Subak-dos. It was like Korean martial arts.
Okay.
Korean martial arts. I did that when I was a kid. Like just a bunch of different things. And I think that's really cool. Part of getting to grow up in a small town is you get to experience a lot of those different things. I wasn't into technology. I didn't play a lot of video games. I wasn't cooped up inside. We went out and we played on the acreage. We went down to the river and we swam and played down there. And it was just a good time. Great childhood. And I had a great family that was always supportive of that. My parents were always, let's go try new things. Let's just go have an adventure. Go explore. And constantly we had I have older brother, younger brother, so 2 brothers and the middle child, and they're constantly just running us to different events because they wanted to see us succeed in something. They wanted to see us be a part of a team, learn those disciplines, those values, so it was really cool. It was a great time.
Were you the type of kid who, no matter what sport or activity or didn't really matter, you sort of were pretty good at it? Like, did you have the ability to sort of adapt to whatever sort of physical task was thrown at you growing up, or were you particularly good at, say, X but not Z?
I think it would be wrong of me to say that I wasn't. I did. Things came fairly easy, and I'm very thankful for that. I was a very competitive person too, so it made for a fun childhood. It's like
A dangerous
I'm
mix.
really competitive, and I just want to win. And then and as soon as I pick something up, I might stumble with it for a little bit, but I figure it out quick. And it's always kind of been that way. And it was nice. I mean, even played off this some aspects of my competitive CrossFit career now. So I've been very fortunate with that. It just kind of had a knack for a lot of different things. And pick things up pretty quick.
How much do you think? How much of that was affected by having two brothers, especially having one older and a younger brother? How much of that drive or how much of that competitive spirit was fed by that environment that you were in?
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot. I would be known as the athlete in the family. My brothers did sports and whatnot, but I was the one that really took heart to it and put a lot of my focus into it and just kind of took off with sports. But having an older brother, he was 3 years older, and I wanted to keep up.
Yeah.
And he had a lot of athletic friends, and I wanted to keep up with them. So I was very fortunate where I grew up. I was actually old for my grade, but our sports teams weren't based off of your grade; they were based off of age groups.
Okay.
So I played with an older age group because that was my age. So I didn't play with my grade until high school when that all catches up to you.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to have that dynamic growing up, because that, as well as trying to keep up with a 3-year, a brother who's 3 years older than you, forces you to adapt skills and assets and values that if you want to keep up, you have to have that, So, and then just the value of those guys wanting to see me succeed as well. That they really poured a lot of energy into me. Had a couple of those guys really mentor me, take me into the weight room when I started getting in the weight room, show me the ropes, show me how to run better, run faster, all those different types of things. So I think that played a huge aspect into my development.
Did your parents encourage that sort of aspirational element to looking up to your brother and wanting to be like them? Did they try to protect you at all from what I imagine was, inevitably not being as good or not being as fast or not being as strong? Did they push you into making sure that you were kind of in over your head more often? Or do you get the sense now, looking back, that there were times where they tried to protect you against your own instincts maybe?
My mom said, if you make a mistake or something like that, you just pay the consequences. It was like, let's go be the best version of ourselves. Like honestly, my mom and my dad, they were just all about going and doing great things. Go do something great. And great didn't have to be, you make $1 million in a year, or you graduate from just an amazing, pristine school, or anything like that. You don't have to have the 4.0 GPA. You don't have to make it to the NFL. That wasn't greatness. It was just going and doing your best, giving your best to any situation that you're in, not quitting, not giving up. That was one of the things that was preached a lot to me. Just keep going. Don't give up. Don't quit on something just because it's hard, just because it's difficult. Don't do that. So I think that was really, that was a huge play into my drive as a kid. Especially with an already competitive attitude, them driving that forward is like, don't give up, don't quit, work hard. You can go achieve things if you just put your mind to it. Which sure, they sound cliche, but it's true. And it really hit home with me. So
football obviously became the sport, like you said, I think you said 12 or 13, that became sort of your sport. Yeah. And clearly you went to school to play football. Mm-hmm. Were you a scholarship athlete, or did you walk on? Or?
Yeah. So I actually started as a preferred walk on. Essentially, a scholarship fell through at a school at University of Washington. They had a coaching change. We were talking scholarship there, and then when that coaching staff was fired and the new one came in, they just kind of dropped some of the recruiting pool and whatnot, and it was fine. Essentially restarted, and they said, "Hey, look, if you if you come walk on as as a scholarship athlete, I came on at the same time as scholarship athletes did and whatnot. If you come in and you walk on and you earn a starting position on any team, could be special teams, kickoff, punt return, offense or defense, whatever. We'll honor your scholarship.
Gotcha.
And so that's what happened. And I was very fortunate to play 4 years at the University of Washington. Went to 3 bowl games, which was, those are amazing experiences. And I can go into the depth of playing at UW, and it's just, it's incredible. I wish more people got the opportunities that I have gotten in my lifetime. It shows a lot about your character, challenges you, causes you to grow in ways that I don't think anything else will ever cause you to grow.
Now, are you saying that football does that, or that something specific to your experience in college?
I think team sports. I mean, you can really break that down into a lot of different ways. I think team sports in general, whether you're playing basketball, volleyball, soccer, baseball, team sports, those are going to instill values in your life that you're going to take with you for the rest of your life. I think that playing in a collegiate setting is something that also then will instill other values, challenge you in ways that you otherwise wouldn't have been challenged, and then take it to a level where you're playing at a Division I school in the Pac-12 that is in the top 25. That kind of challenge, that kind of adversity, that kind of pressure then just continues to instill. I think they all kind of have their own ways and continue to build on each other as you, you go to the NFL, and that's a whole other ball game, you know what I mean? So, I think that all kind of builds on each other.
2 questions. One, what made you a good football player? Whether athletically, mentally, however you want to answer that. And then the second question is, did you go into college playing football with the thought that you were going to continue to play beyond college professionally, or was college somehow the sort of the pinnacle that in your mind you were always training to play high level college football, and then but not beyond that?
Sure. I actually I set out with the goal to play in the NFL. That was, from a small age, and it is so much deeper than playing in the NFL. I didn't want to play in the NFL just because that's the cool thing to do. It is the cool thing to do, and it would be cool to do.
It's not the only cool thing.
But it's so much deeper than that. There's I think that there's a why behind people's decisions, actions, values, and I think it's really important to be in tune with that, to be in touch with your purpose. Why are you doing what you're doing? What are you trying to get out of it? What are you trying to achieve in life? Because when adversity hits you in the face and you get a bloody nose from it, like, you got to be able to fall back on something. And so going into college, the plan was to go to the NFL. And I think the reason why I excelled at a young age at football, and that's something that I really took heart to, is one, I love the game. I think that you have to have a love for what you're doing, and you have to enjoy it, and you have to have fun. But I think it really came down to just willingness to persevere. I didn't have a golden route. I was from a small town that, honestly, people laughed at the thought of me playing at the University of Washington when I told them that was my goal. It's like, nobody's done that in our town for 15, 20 years. That's not going to happen, dude. And but there's a really nice D3 school down the road, it's like, but it was just a matter of persevering through the ups and the downs, the ebbs and the flows, the adversity that strikes, constantly having people, person after person, tell you you're not going to make it, and being able to shut those voices out. And obviously a whole lot of hard work, and being willing to put in the extra hours. I can't tell you how many times I was up at the weight room by 5:30, actually, to the point where we had some buddies in high school where we actually broke into the weight room one time because they wouldn't let us in. So we broke in because we just wanted to work out. We wanted to get it in. And hindsight, probably shouldn't have done that. That was the wrong thing to do. But you know what? I was committed.
Let's put it that way. Yeah, you weren't a delinquent. You were committed. Those are different.
So, but anyways, through that perseverance and that hard work, there was something underlying there. There was something much deeper, and like I've said, and it was my purpose. It was my why, and that was to build a platform to be able to share my story, share my values, and encourage people, inspire people. That's what I want out of life. I want to look at the person who feels like they have just been beaten down, and I want to give them a hand to just help them up. Like if that's all it is, I just want to help them up, because if they can get up, they can keep going, and I want my story to be that, and I want my career to be just an encouragement and inspiration to people. And so I wanted to play in the NFL because I thought that was going to be the platform.
It's a big platform.
Right? Yeah, we really think so. Like that's massive.
Yeah.
So all through college, that just, that was where it was, and it wasn't until my senior year with a string of events that kind of came about, and that's when I shifted focus and started getting into CrossFit, and I realized that maybe the NFL wasn't where I should be. That probably wasn't the best platform, and maybe there's another opportunity. So
where maybe a better question is, when and how did you recognize this idea of the why, or the importance of the why? Because it sounds like to me, it sounds like it came much earlier for you than it does for most people. For a lot of people, it doesn't come at all. Yeah. So what happened in your life, or what got you to a place where you were at least aware enough to stop and say, what is it that I'm really trying to accomplish here?
Absolutely. I love the concept and idea of being a champion, like championship mindset. It's something that when you're in sports, and especially high level sports, it's something that's talked about a lot, having a championship mindset. And it's funny because you can work to have a championship mindset all you want on your own. But I kind of touched on that a little bit when I talked about where I came from. I truly believe that it takes a community to raise a champion. It takes dozens, possibly hundreds, who knows, maybe even thousands of people, and the impact of those people to drive and forward to champion. The sacrifices that all those people have made in their life, the encouragement that they've provided, all that stuff. So I think that at a young age, I had just mentors and loved ones, friends that just over time said one thing or another, and that just slowly started to grip and grab and stick with me. And I started to realize, it's more than me just going out and having fame. It's more than me just making a bunch of money. It's more than me being popular in a space, or just whatever it is. It's more than that. And I think in high school, it really hit home when I befriended a kid that was just developing at a slower rate. He was you would call mentally challenged. This kid, he's just I don't know what it was, but he saw me doing some speed training during the summer. Saw me doing some speed training. And I was with a buddy, and we were doing some sprints, and he snuck up on us, and we had a football just kind of sitting there, and he ran out on the field, and he stole our football and he ran off. The funny thing is he forgot his skateboard. So as he's running off and he's yelling and screaming, I just raised up a skateboard. I'm like, and so he comes back over to me, he brings the ball back, and we exchange, and we talk for a little bit, and he takes off, and I don't see him again for months until school starts, football season started. Well, in my senior year, open up the season, I had a string of 3 or 4 games right at the beginning of the season that had just really good rushing, a really good rushing game, a lot of tackles, just really. Honestly, I was stoked to open up a season that way, especially my senior season. I was like, yes. Him being at those games, he heard my name and my number a lot. So he finally put 2 and 2 together when he saw who I was and recognized me from the field. Saw my jersey on Jersey Friday. You wear your blue and gold. we wear blue and gold because that's our school color. You wear your jersey to school and it has a name on it, and he kind of put it all together. And from that point, he found me between every class, be after school, before school, as whenever he could find me and be around me, he wanted to be around me. Just again, very fortunate to have a community raise me in a way that's like, I was gifted with athletic potential. I was gifted with popularity. I was a popular kid. Understanding at a young age and having those mentors like really like delve into my life and say like it's more than just being popular. Like, you got to do the right thing. Which is funny because now I have like something that sticks with me is like it's always like doing the right thing is always the right thing. Period. Integrity at its finest. So integrity was just preached a lot to me, and so I really focused on not just being a jock. Like, I didn't want to just be a jock. And when this kid just wanted to be around me all the time, and all my friends just couldn't wrap their heads around, why are you like, he's annoying, like, just like he's obnoxious, like why? I mean, can't we tell him to go away? Like, I eventually just like, fine, if you guys can't handle it, like, me and him will go eat lunch over here. And we just started eating lunch every single day together over at a different table in the cafeteria. Some friends were cool with it and they would come over and say, oh, hey, Patrick, how you doing? Like, and it was great. And everybody wasn't, anti, whatever. I still have a lot of good friends, that were, very kind. But it was at that point that I was like, this is a life, a human being that I could really make an impact in their life. And he really looks up to me. And it's like, wow, like that is real. That's the difference. That's what it's about. It's about living our lives for other people. Our lives aren't meant for us. They're meant for the betterment of everybody else around us. What we do is going to encourage and inspire and motivate everybody around it, people around it that you may not ever know and not ever touch, like you see, like it's more than that, and I think that is really, I mean, that is what drove me at a young age and brought me to where I am now, and is really what has built the foundation of why I do what I do. It's the main reason why I got into CrossFit, and I didn't really touch on it much, but it's the kind of some of the combinations of that and some other stuff is kind of why I even chose to get into CrossFit in the first place, so yeah, it's been cool. It really hits home for me, and I have a really strong sense of that, and I think that's kind of where it stemmed from.
What did your transition from considering yourself a football player to considering yourself a CrossFit athlete? How long did that transition take? What kind of stumbles did you hit sort of along the way?
Yeah.
And sort of what were the big lessons that you pulled out of that?
It's actually kind of funny. It was very fast.
Yeah.
It was a very fast transition. I had a friend that was in the military. He was in the Army. And he came, I think he was on leave for something. And anyways, he came, Cody came home and he was like, hey, I'm going to come down to Seattle. I'm going to visit you. And by the way, let's go out to Chipotle. So we went to Chipotle, because paleo and stuff, I had a burrito bowl. No, I didn't. I was playing football. I ate everything. And he was like, bro, you're going to give up this CrossFit or this football dream and you're going to start doing CrossFit.
Yeah.
I looked at him. I was like, no, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Like, CrossFit, they do push-ups and pull-ups with bands. Like, I'm good. Like, I'm gonna stick over here with squats and bicep curls because that's what I did. And he was like, no, like, don't be an idiot. Like, check it out. I was like, okay, like, I'll look at this. Like, I'll look into it, whatever. And I kind of walked away from it like, yeah, right, dude, this just sounds silly. I've heard a lot of weird things about CrossFit. I'm good. Like, I'm just going to continue on my path and I'll figure it out. But he sent me some videos, and it was of Dan Bailey and Rich Froning. Okay. And they were talking about their faith. And what hit home for me was seeing two people highly respected in a community out there sharing their faith. And I am very, very strong in my faith. Like that is a huge part of me. It's a big value of me. I wear it boldly. If you go to my Instagram, like I talk about it a lot. I'm not here to be a Bible thumper. Like that's not what it is. It's just about living a life for others, but seeing two highly respected people in the community talking about their faith because they want to better the community, that was attractive. Like that is cool. Seeing people who want to just better others. Wow. I want to be part of that community. That's a really cool community. And so I started looking into the community. Like I started watching videos, I got on CrossFit HQ or the CrossFit.com just to kind of see like what's going on, and seeing this community that wants to grow, wants to change, they want to be better. Like CrossFitters want to be better. How cool is that? That is awesome. People who want to be inspired, want to be encouraged, and want to be a better version of themselves. It's like, heck yeah. So then I looked up some archive footage of the CrossFit Games, and I was like, wow, that's actually pretty sweet. Like,
they're not doing cool. Bands, they're not bands there.
Yeah, they're not everything's not banded, And actually, I think the first video I saw was maybe it was like 2011 CrossFit Games, maybe 2012. They had to climb a rope up and over, up and over a wall, and then do like hand release push-ups and stuff. And I was like, that's awesome. Like, I'm doing that, But really the transition happened when I realized that playing in the NFL, it would be amazing. There's a long road to become great in the NFL, and you have to be the cream of the crop in order to get a large following to make the impact that you truly want to make. Because the NFL, most of the community in the NFL are people who are kind of set in their ways. They sit around the couch a lot. They just want to watch some football, eat some potato chips, do their thing, right? And they just want to be entertained by the glory days, some football, whatever. And I mean, it's totally cool. I love the game. I love watching football. Like, I get it. But I looked over and I saw the CrossFit community, and I was like, that's a community that, yeah, sure, it's a whole lot smaller, but there are more people within it that want to change, that want to be impacted. And I was like, that's the kind of platform that I want to build and I want to be a part of. So I made the decision. I was like, I want to be a CrossFitter. I'm going to go to the CrossFit Games. At that point, then I went and tried a CrossFit workout. I was like, I'm going to go to the CrossFit Games because I'm going to build a platform in there so I can just share with people. I can encourage people. I can love on people. By the way, I should probably try one of their workouts.
So see if I'm good at this.
Let's try to see if we can do this actually. So actually, it was kind of funny. I was just sharing this the other day with Ben. My first CrossFit workout was actually just after the Las Vegas Bowl of my senior year. It's like I think we got home like January 2nd or something like that of 2013. And we flew home the day after the game, and we got home about 9:30, maybe 8:30, something like that, just kind of in the evening. And I went over to the student rec center. I got off the bus, went right over to the student rec center because I had already made my decision. Like, football is done. It is. Well, I had almost made that decision. Still had to do the workout first, see if I was good at it.
We're putting all the chips in.
That's still pretty good at football. I don't know if I'm good at CrossFit yet. So then I had actually gone over to the student rec center, and I loaded up the barbell, and I was going to do Grace. That was going to be my first workout that I was going to do. I didn't know the difference between pounds and kilos.
Oh, yeah.
So I loaded up the big plates that looked like 45 pounds. They were not. They were 55 pounds. They were 25 kilos.
Yep.
So I did Grace at 155 for the first workout.
Already scaling up.
Yeah. Because why not? I'm going to the CrossFit Games. Right. Remember, like that was already in my mind.
You got to get ready.
Threw it down. I was pretty happy with how the workout went. Just kind of stoked. I was like, yeah, like we're gonna do this. Time was actually pretty good. I was like, sweet, like this is cool. Like, and then to find out that I actually scaled up, I was like, wow, that time's even better. Like, cool, So Then from there, just kind of, ventured on and slowly got into it, made it to my first regionals in 2013, just a few months later. So learned muscle ups, just I think maybe less than a month. It would have been less than a month before the open. It's like, wow, this all happened so quick. And again, I think that some of that played into my background as a child, playing a lot of different sports. I just picked up on something. I just kind of had a knack for movements, to watch people do muscle ups, and okay, let's go try it.
Yep.
And so very fortunate there. But yeah, it was a quick transition. Just happened. Yeah, like that. So
it's interesting. I don't know that there is anybody else who can say that they look at CrossFit or the CrossFit Games as a platform first and not I don't know what else to call it, but a personal goal or personal aim for them, right? And I think that that's really interesting. I think that that sets you apart. I'm wondering if you ever get any pushback for being so open about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's different.
Yeah.
It's just different. So especially because you're so open about it. Yeah. Have you received any pushback? Do you get the sense that people react to that in a way that obviously it's not intended for?
Yeah, it's funny. I actually get the question a lot, like, are games athletes mean? Like, you get that a lot because people see on TV, they're intense. Yeah. Like, the CrossFit Games are intense. Yeah. We're going to battle. Like, so everybody looks tough as nails and mean. Like, right. Yeah, of course we look like that. We're going to battle. Like, I couldn't tell you a mean CrossFitter. I couldn't tell you a mean games athlete. Like, all people that I love hanging out with, I love training with, they're just a blast. I really, in my life, I think that one of the most important things are people have a passion for people, and I just want to love on them, so it's like, we're hanging out. Like, I just want to be friends, like, and I just want to find ways to do that. I want to try to relate to as many people as I can, so I don't feel like I get a lot of pushback for that. And I get that, maybe my outspoken faith might rub people the wrong way. And, I never intend for that. Again, I don't want to be a Bible thumper. I'm just here to express and just, really, truly love on people and just encourage them and inspire them, and that just happens to stem a lot from my faith. Right. That's what it is. And, so no, I don't get much pushback. It's just CrossFit Games athletes are just nice people. CrossFitters are just nice people, so I'm sure maybe some of the other communities that troll on the internet or something like that say stuff, but one of the values that I really work hard on is just minimizing distractions. So if they do, I don't see it. Cool. And that's fine. I don't, and if I did see it, okay, I'm still gonna be that person. Yeah. So yeah.
So the transition from a team player to an individual athlete, obviously you had a long time as a team member. So it wouldn't surprise me if there wasn't something kind of nice about kind of going on your own for a while. But was that something that you had to get accustomed to, or how have you adjusted to sort of the individual nature of the sport, but also the training for the sport, which I imagine is really the biggest change from I work out with 50 guys every day to whatever it looks like now.
Yeah. Honestly, there's not much of a difference. Yeah. There really isn't. Like, people think that there's this huge difference, but when approaching it the way that I've talked about, with having a sense of purpose behind what you do, the reason why you do something doesn't change a whole lot. The basic fundamentals are still there. Because I was willing to work hard and persevere through some adversities growing up and through sports and coaches or whatever it is, I was willing to go out and work out on my own. I didn't have to hit the weight room with the team. I didn't have to wait until a friend came. I was going to go do it regardless, If a friend came or not, if the team was there or not, I was going to go work out. I was going to go speed train. I was going to go do this. In college, I knew that I wasn't the most gifted, and I didn't have a set path to the NFL, but I still wanted to go. So I always pulled 2-a-days, and I just did that on my own. The second session, it was just on my own. So I got used to training a lot on my own. So when you take that and you transfer that over to CrossFit, well, now I'm just training all the time. And I already kind of experienced that of what it's like. It's like you have to be able to motivate yourself to get in the gym. Well, I train a lot in my garage now. I don't get out a lot. I'm kind of in this little hermit hole. It's great when I do get friends. It's like, oh, people, yay! You know, but it's because I wanted a garage gym because whenever I feel the motivation to go, just go. When I don't feel the motivation to go, I find it and I just go, and it's right there and it's next to me. It's like, it's time to go, time to work. It's time to get some work in, you know, and you just find that motivation within yourself, and you have to have a sense of purpose. You have to have a why behind it. And so when I compete now, when you competed on a team, you competed a lot for your teammates. Mm-hmm. You did like team sports. It's amazing to see where people will go in order to do something just tremendous for somebody else. Yep. They'll take themselves to their wits end, to their limits. It's incredible to see. I love it. Fires me up. But in an individual sport, a lot of times you'll get people that are just like, if I just back off a little bit, and like nobody else will really know. And I'm the only one that's gonna know if I backed off. Like, you know. But when you have a purpose and you have a why behind what you're doing, it's like, I can't let the person down who's going to be inspired by my actions today that may only see it 5 years from now, 2 years from now, whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, there's somebody out there in the future at some point in time that's going to see what I'm doing and what I'm persevering through, and it's going to inspire, it's going to change their life, it's going to impact them. Mm-hmm. And having that purpose for me is really what drives that, you know, and you know, somebody else might have a different purpose. I'm not saying that everybody's life has to be about going out and inspiring everybody and impacting lives. Like, it could be your family. Like you want to set yourself up financially for your family, or you want to do X, Y, and Z for some friends, or you know, whatever it is. Like, if you have that sense of purpose and you have that why behind it, like that same grit and determination to prepare and to excel for your teammates still comes out. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's still there. It still comes out as part of you because you have something that really anchors in of why you're out there in the first place.
And if you don't have that, it's really easy to distract yourself or to convince yourself to let up on the gas.
Voices, right? Yeah. There's constant voices just chirping away. Slow down.
Yep.
Oh, this
feels so much. Feels so much better if I wasn't going so fast.
Yeah. Like, I'm going really fast. If I just slow down just a little bit, nobody will know, and I'll feel a whole lot better.
So you have to the why or the purpose sort of is the louder voice, or it's the overriding voice.
It has to be bigger than all the other voices. It has to be bigger than the pain. It has to be bigger than the distractions. It has to be different than the struggle, than the adversity, because they're all going to come. Everybody's going to deal with adversity. It's going to hit everybody in the face. It's a matter of how you react to it. So it has to be bigger than that. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. What is
one mistake or one common flaw that you see a lot of people struggle with who want to whether it's get to the CrossFit Games or just simply sort of max out their athletic potential? What is a common thing that you see that's holding people back?
To being able to
being able to get to the point athletically, to get to the point where they want to get to, whether it's CrossFit Games or whether it's I just want to do better at the Open this year.
You know, I think that you're really hitting the nail on the head of a lot of the things that we talk about with Ben, which it's really cool because Ben and I have a great relationship. We meshed really well. Like, a lot of the things that I cared about, that I had learned, that I grew up with, learned firsthand, he preaches.
Yeah.
He preaches all the time. We talk about it all the time. And it is truly, I mean, I think what you're talking about and what I refer to as maximizing your potential. Mm-hmm. It's like, I want to wake up every day and I want to maximize potential. I want to, Ben words it in like, I want to maximize minutes. Mm-hmm. Like, that hit home for me, because I will always tell myself is maximize your potential. If I maximize my minutes, I can maximize my potential. So I'm gonna pay attention to sleep. I'm gonna pay attention to recovery. I'm gonna have better nutrition. Like all these different things like that I can control, I'm gonna maximize. And I think it comes down to that. I think it's, and really, I mean, the better way to put it that Ben puts it is a commitment to the process. Mm-hmm. Is being committed to that, loving the process, knowing that if you just follow the process, it's what's going to maximize your potential. And so I think that really is what hits home for me. It's what I focus on a lot. And I want to see more people in this world maximize their potential. I want to see them. I want to see the 40-year-old mom that's working a job that just making her sick, that she doesn't like to be. I want to see her do what she wants to do. I want to see what makes her happy. I want to see families that are just choking and starving from being over in debt, and working paycheck to paycheck. Like I want to see them flourish. I want to see them thrive, and it's if they can find a sense of purpose and they can truly maximize their day, their minutes, their potential, like, man, that would be so cool to see those changes in people's lives. Like, and I just hope that these CrossFit games, not just me, like all CrossFit games athletes, like everybody's in the gym working hard. Like you go watch any other CrossFit games athlete. They're all doing it too. Mm-hmm. It's like I want people to realize that there's so much more to just being a CrossFit games athlete than just happen to work out quickly. You know what I mean? It's like we all work out pretty fast. That's cool. It's like what's behind the curtain that goes into why they can work out quickly. It's because they're committed, they're working hard, they're persevering through adversity. Like, and it's so cool to see, and it's really inspirational. And I truly believe, like one of the things I tell people a lot is I truly believe that there is something inspiring about everybody's story. And if we just take one moment to look for it, to find it, we can find a sense of inspiration from anybody. You don't have to have the amazing inspirational speaker on YouTube and sit in front of them and watch his videos every day. Like if you just take a moment to just sit and listen to somebody's story, I'm very certain that you will very frequently find something inspiring about their story, and that you can take away, you can take into your own life. So yeah.
I think we will leave it at that. Thank you, Cole.
Yeah, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.